Hi, welcome back. There is a question that is on the minds of many people around the world, and that question is, what happened? You've changed. If you have found yourself scratching your head, especially these last 5 to 10 years, wondering what happened, you've changed. That's a question you've put to someone, or you've thought about a certain situation or circumstance. You are not alone. The big, fat, smelly elephant in the room, where our relationship is concerned, is we are absolutely in a new relationship environment, and things have changed. Many of my clients, friends, people that I've talked to, they can't quite put their finger on the change, but it is creating a lot of frustration, angst, and tension in the hearts and minds of people around the world. I want to share a short list with you. And again, if any of this sounds familiar, you are absolutely not alone. Number one, things that you may be experiencing in this new relationship environment. Erratic, unexplained behavior in relationships and between perfect strangers, more road rage, more incidents on the street popping up out of the blue. Next, passive aggressive behavior, as well as text messaging and emailing, replacing one on one communication. Next, relationships ending abruptly, for no reason, and ending rudely. Next, increased strain and tension and hostility in the workplace. I'm even hearing from various folks in organizations that they find coworkers have shorter tempers, supervisors. So there's more disarray in terms of what's happening between folks in the workplace. Also, isolation. More folks are isolated. More people are falling into despair. And it's not just adults. I've heard from many teenagers and children that they just sense a feeling of loss, anger, frustration, and upset. So all of this has come into play and created again what I firmly believe, based on my observations and research, is a new relationship environment and climate. Even with all the chaos that we see, more anxiety, more depression, even with all the chaos, it is still such a wonderful, amazing, sweet, and beautiful world. Now, granted, some of that sweetness is found in tight pockets, but it's still here. And to be a human being, again, even in tough, challenging circumstances, we all crave the human connection, those deep bonds. And because we still crave that and it's still available for us, there's a lot of hope. But when we talk about survival in this new climate, I think we really just have to have a very real conversation about what is required. Let's be honest with each other. The world has become a cold place to exist and live in. And if you are watching this video and really saying to yourself, Sheila, I agree with you, but what I'm interested in is not necessarily hearing so much about how cold it is, how harsh it has become. I'm living it. I know it. Can you please share some strategies with me, some solutions to hopefully make things better? And that's really the second part of what I want to do in this video. And I do have two strategies that I really want you to keep in mind as you're moving forward in this new relationship environment. And number one, this is some advice wrapped inside of a strategy, and that is to take on a posture, of brutal honesty with yourself. You know, if you want to lie to this person over here or that person, you know, I don't condone it, but so be it. But when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you wake up in the morning, I want you to assume again, a posture of brutal honesty with yourself. And I'll tell you why. Because I don't think anyone can afford to walk in this new harsh climate lying to yourself or unclear about what is going on. Secondly, one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself in this new relationship environment, and it goes right to the heart and soul of going beyond surviving but thriving, being successful and happy in this climate, is to drop any and all excess baggage that you have. And you know, some of us have that baggage in the form of shame. Some of us are locked into cycles of unforgiveness. Some of us are full of guilt. Others are full of regret. And I'm here to tell you that if you are walking around diminished in any way, carrying baggage in this day and age, you are vulnerable and you are at a deficit. I've had so many people in workshops, or even people writing in from YouTube and asking, you know, how I'm dealing with this issue, Sheila. It just seems like I can't drop it. Okay. It seems like I can't let it go. How do I start to drop it? Okay, here's a question for you. If I handed you just a steaming hot, right out of the oven, like 450 degree, if I handed you a hot potato, would you kind of sit there and say, oh, you know, what am I going to do with this? How do I drop it? No, you would look at it. It burns you. You let it go and take your hands off of it. So a lot of the things in our life are like the hot potato. We keep analyzing it, picking it apart, and it's burning us. It's hurting us. It's not good for us. And the reason why, now let's tell the truth, shame the devil. The reason why I suspect most people are more comfortable analyzing that hot potato, looking at it even though it's burning them, and it's hurting them, is because somehow we become so intimately familiar with our pain that in a twisted kind of a way, it becomes very comfortable. And we don't know what to do once we drop the hot potato. We're so used to holding something and looking at it, we don't know how to replace it. So I'm here to tell you that if you're being honest with yourself and what I'm saying resonates with you, it is time to drop it. And what do you replace? What do you replace that with? Because oftentimes we can become addicted to our pain. You replace it with clarity. You replace it with a sense of direction and knowing where you want to go, because you have all this freed up energy and renewal because you have released all of that pain. So, again, it becomes critical in this new relationship environment to get clear on what is helping you in your life and what is hurting you. Sometimes the hot potatoes in our life can be relationships. There are many folks, and trust me, I'm not pointing any fingers because I used to be one of them, There are many folks, you are in relationships that are filled with degradation, stress, and is nothing other than a headache 24/7. Now, I didn't just fall off the turnip truck. I'm not suggesting that, oh, you give me a headache, everyone's cut out of your life. No, it's really not that simple. Sometimes you may have a parent, you may have a child, and those aren't relationships you can easily walk away from. Those are relationships you deal with the best you can, and you continue to move on. I'm not necessarily talking about those type of relationships. I'm talking about the relationships that you do have leverage and you do have more choice, but you keep these folks in your life out of habit. You keep these folks in your life out of fear for, am I going to be alone? What is this going to look like for me? And I'm here to tell you that in the new relationship environment, because of all the external stressors and pressures coming at us, if you do not have relationships in your life that are mutually satisfying, respectful, gratifying, again, you are vulnerable, because the relationships in our lives should not be pulling us down. They really should serve as a couple things: an anchor to ground us, as well as that positive force that gives us lift, to fly and fuel us and help us reach our goals. And again, a lot of times we hold on to that hot potato relationship, and God wants to bless us and bring us something else, but we're bumbling around with the old potato, so he can't put the fresh muffin or fresh bouquet of flowers in your hand. So again, I'm really asking you to think about and get clear on what are the influences, what are the relationship influence in my life, what are the emotional influences, and what is it time for me to drop. The next strategy I want to share with you is it's about power. Getting in touch with your power and staying in touch with your power. Did you know that there are actually a multitude of research studies out there that let us know folks who experience life from a perspective of power, meaning I am empowered, I have power to influence and affect the course of my life. They are more resilient, they're happier, they do better in general. The folks who allow themselves, for whatever it may be, to feel a sense of powerlessness in your job, to feel a sense of powerlessness in your relationship, quite simply, they do worse. And again, we're back to that whole paradigm of being vulnerable. This is not the kind of environment where anyone needs to sit in vulnerability. So how can you get in touch with your power and stay in touch with your power? The first thing I want to share with you is when we talk about power, where does power come from? I'm not talking about the kind of power of I have money in the bank, or I drive a Lexus, or I drive a Mercedes. I'm not talking about the kind of power that you can, bigger than someone, you could bully them. I'm talking about the true, the real, the authentic power. Real power comes from having a sense and knowing who you are. Knowing who you are in your eyes, knowing who you are in God's eyes. And once you are clear on that, then you can bring your strength, your skill set, your heart, your love, your intellect, all the gifts that you have. You can bring those to the table and leverage them and walk in this lifetime upright, bold, confident, and again, knowing who you are. Because once you know who you are, it doesn't matter who anyone else says you are. So one of the greatest ways that you can start connecting to your power and to your power source is to take time every day. Not every other day, not once a week. I'm telling you to get quiet and take time every single day and connect with yourself and connect with your God source through prayer, through meditation, through focused intention. Okay, more on power. Another thing that you can do to begin to stay in touch with your power and get connected with your power is to begin to really pay close attention. Pay close attention to the standard that you have set in your life in terms of, what kind of energies do you allow in? Paying attention to how you talk to yourself and how you allow others to talk to you. I'm telling you that words are very, very powerful. The dialogue that you have inside of your head, as well as what you're going back and forth with. I was working with a young lady, and her boyfriend would kind of go back and forth with her. He'd take a jab, and then he'd pull this piece of, I'm just kidding. I didn't mean anything by that. Well, first of all, that's one heck of a way to joke. And second of all, once the words are spoken, there you are. There you are. There's power in those words. And what he was saying to her was degrading. And she was taking it in mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. So I want you to begin to start putting up some barriers, inviting in words and affirmations that are powerful for your life, and putting up blocks from anything that does not uplift, validate your body, heart, mind, spirit, soul. We want to have a zero tolerance policy for any type of degradation. And when I say zero, I do mean zero. And next, if we're talking about truly keep holding our power and staying connected to it, that means that when we wake up in the morning, we're not just jumping out of our car and arriving at work or starting our day. It means taking some time to start working with your mind and emotions. And by the way, I'm going to be doing a whole YouTube series on working with your mind and emotions, to calm down and center yourself for the day. Get centered in your power. Next, one of the wonderful, brilliant things that you can do to stay uplifted and really to harness your focus where it becomes more of a funnel is to start working with daily affirmations. Again, you may have heard of this before, and maybe you're doing it. If you are, continued success and good work in that. But if you're not, I'm telling you that it is a life-changing and very affirming practice. You can come up with your own daily affirmations and repeat them out loud a couple times a day, or there's many books available out here on daily affirmations. I'm going to share 3 affirmations that I use every single day. And the first one is, I walk in God's light, clarity, and strength today. Therefore, my mind and emotions work together in harmony. Okay? The second one is, positivity and answers come easily for me. Positivity and answers come easily for me. So again, these are just a couple affirmations that you can begin to work with. And again, you don't have to use mine, you can use your own. But we're talking about keeping ourselves level, balanced, calm, upright in the new relationship environment where there is so much to negotiate and so much is shifting and changing, moving at the speed of light. Now, because of this new relationship environment and my concerns started growing a couple years ago, I have put out a book, and that book is called They're Not Coming. Here's the book, if you can see it. It's called They're Not Coming. Waiting for Rescue on the Roadside of Life, an evolutionary analysis of the reasons relationships leave you feeling ditched today and how to adapt your way to the good life. Again, the title of that book is They're Not Coming. It's actually available on Amazon now, and this book is really about just a few of the things we touched on earlier in this video. Why have things changed? What is this relationship disconnect all about? What is this cruelty about? So it's not just a book of information about why things have changed. It's a book about hope and solutions. And again, it's called They're Not Coming. Just for future reference, I will be creating many more videos closing out this year into next year about emotional balance, staying grounded, staying empowered in this new relationship environment. And many of the videos will be a direct spin-off of what I've written in the book, They're Not Coming. So please stay tuned. I hope some of the information I shared on this video resonates with you, and I'll see you soon.